The shooter, right? Lethal shooter.
Oh yeah.
All right. Hey, I'm Andrew. I'm with my daughter Samara. This is Father Vice, Daughter of Fire, and this is officially our first episode. I'm very, very excited. Sammy finally was able to crack the book open. She read the prologue, so we're gonna get into it. Again, if you're kind of new to the channel and we've only had just the intro video so far, Sammy hasn't read the series at all. I have. I'm going to pick her brain as she progresses through the story. So, with that being said, I don't want to. I just kind of want to give you an open floor.
Mhm.
So, what was your impression? What did you anticipate? What was different? So, what just your raw thoughts off the rip for the prologue?
Well, I think I was only introduced to 3 characters. I hope we don't, like, butcher their names, but we got Jared, I hope that's how you pronounce it, Sir Waymar Royce?
Perfect.
I'm cooking. And then, Will, so really simple.
Actually, it's a Willie, but
Oh, right. But yeah, so that was it, and then, I was not expecting, like, for them to die. I think Sir whatever Waymore died, but then, like, he stood up, so I was really confused, and then I'm not sure if Will is dead, but,
okay.
like, I'm assuming that he is, but, like, I was not ready for them to die so early, like, I just opened it, and then they're dead, which is crazy, but yeah, um, and then the only, like, questions I had were, like, the significance of the wall because it was mentioned multiple times and, like, I think it was Will that was, like, mentioning his he said something about, like, him working, like, on the w I don't know if it was, like, he said called it range I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm talking about right
I
now.
love this. I love every bit of everything you just said. This is
Like,
exactly what I wanted.
I just remember, like, when I was reading it, it sounded like he was, like, working on the wall, and so I'm assuming, like, is the wall, like, has, like, maybe, like, soldiers or something, and he was, like, a soldier working on the wall, or is it, like, working on the wall, like, he was building a wall or I don't know. I don't know anything. But I had that, and then, there was also, like, when those 2 characters died, there was the others, and, like, at first I was like, is it saying the others, like, just like other people, or is the others like, a society because it capitalized the O, so I was like, "Okay, this has to be, like, like, they're, like, zombies or something, because why is it capitalized?" But yeah, that was it actually.
If I wrote out like this is exactly what I want Samara to say, like, it was perfect. Like, oh my god, this is exactly what I wanted. Okay, all right. But before we get into the wall and the others and all that, when you first started, did you think that maybe Sir Waymar Royce was like the main character in the whole story?
Um, I thought he was gonna have more importance than he did. I didn't think he was the main character, but, like, the way that the way he was talking, it seemed like he was, like, that one character that, like, nobody likes because he seemed, like, a little annoying, to be honest, like, he was, like, teasing Jared a lot, so I was like, "Okay," and I think he was 18 or something like that, he was really young,
Yeah.
and so I was like, "Okay, he's, like, this, like, ignorant, arrogant, like, prince type guy,
Mhm,
and, like,
mhm.
people aren't gonna like him," and then he died, and I was like, "Oh, well, dang."
All right, man. So where does it get started? All right, so um, he's young. One thing that you'll notice, and this is kind of debated, is that there's a thought that people mature faster in this world than in our world.
Mm,
There's like 14-year-olds with beards and
mm,
then some other stuff. So but other people decline that and they'll say like, no, that's not true, because you can see people's reaction to the child or whatever. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind, and you can come up with your own thought on that though. Well, and I'll get to the wall and the Night's Watch and the ranging and all that. What was your thought on him being young and essentially like the leader of that group?
um, like, it mentioned that he was, like, I think the youngest son of some, like, I don't remember what they were called, but I knew he's, like, royalty or whatever, and in my mind, like, for Jared and Will, I think it was mentioned in the book, like, it's weird, like, being, like, told orders from someone that, like, they laughed about or something. Because like, Jared made a comment when he was, like, drunk and, like, about, the Sir Waymore or whatever, his what do you call that? Like
Cloak.
the yeah, yeah, and he said something like a joke like, "Oh, bet he killed them all," or something like that. I don't remember. In the context, it was supposed to be funny, and and I just think that like for Jared and Will, it would suck to be like told orders from someone so young because like they don't know anything, and like I'm like 40 something, and I've gone through all of this, and yeah, so that's what I thought.
As a 40-something-year-old, there's no way I'd listen to any 18-year-old.
All right, right, right.
So like one theme throughout the series is like this idea of like royalty, but also like society norms, like, oh, you were born from this house so that you automatically get this, or I was born here so I don't get that. So that's definitely like a common theme throughout the whole series. All right, let's talk about the wall. What do you know about the wall? I forget like all the details I was given, and I don't want to reveal too much, but what do you know about the wall?
It didn't say much. It like it just like it was clear that it was important, and also I think um in the beginning they were like on the look for some people. And Will was like, "Yeah, they're all dead." And then, like Sir Waymore was like, "How do you think they died, Jared?" And Jared was like, "I think they died because of like the frost." And then I remember Will said something like, or no, yeah, Will said something about the wall, like wasn't willowing or was willowing or something, and like
Weeping.
weeping. Thank you. Sorry. And how like it's not cold enough because it's still weeping. Um, but I think that was like the most it went into
Okay.
about the wall. I don't remember anything else besides like again like Will saying how he worked on the wall or was involved with the wall for a long time. But yeah.
Cool. All right. I get to the wall here in a second. You also mentioned the others. Now, there's this other YouTuber. His name is Preston Jacobs. And not only has he studied A Song of Ice and Fire, like he has studied George R.R. Martin. He's read all of his books. He's like, he knows like when
Dang.
to write these shows or when to, like he knows everything about them. And one of the ideas that he put forward, maybe other people put it forward, but this is where I heard it from, is that
Mhm.
this concept of the others, and if you are other than us, you're inherently evil, like we are us and then you are the others.
Mhm.
So that term the others I do think has like a deep meaning, and I think that
Mhm.
so we see Waymar Royce get murdered by them, and the chapter is from Waymar's perspective, so like he's not necessarily a good guy, but like we're on his side with his thoughts, and the others killed him. I think George R. R. Martin is like seeding into this idea that they're evil because they're other, or are they?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like something to keep in mind as well. All right. Oh, the other thing about chapters. So every chapter is written from the perspective of a person. Now, once we get into the regular chapters, there's going to be like a handful of characters that will always like come back. You'll get Bran chapter 1, John, Ed. You might come back for Bran chapter 2. It might jump over to Arya, then back to Ned chapter 2. So it's always going to be from these perspectives, except for the prologues. The prologue of every book will give you like a completely unique perspective. So this one was from Sir Waymar. So we'll never get it. Obviously, he died, but we'll never get another chapter from his perspective. But every chapter is written from the perspective of a person. The other thing to keep in mind is that let's say we're in a Brandon chapter. Brandon
Mhm.
is like 9 years old. You have
Yeah,
to
that's the
remember,
next one.
right? So you have to remember that you are observing the world through the eyes of a 9-year-old. So it's not going to be written from the author's voice. It's going to be written from a 9-year-old's voice. So he might
Mhm.
misunderstand something. He might overhear a conversation of adults and not, quite figure it out. And then we'll go to, and then other things can be wrong. People can say, like the book will say A and B happened, or I remember A and B happening, and you have to think, like, is that true? Like, are they incorrect? So it's not only, so keep that in mind as you're reading. You got to know that it's from the perspective. I just bumped the mic. It's from the perspective of that person. Okay.
Mhm.
The wall. So the the world has a couple main continents.
Mhm.
We're primarily going to be in Westeros. That's the west continent. There's also
Okay.
Essos. That's the east continent. super
Okay. All
Western.
right.
Now, within Westeros, a lot of the book will be from the north. The wall is a dividing line north of north, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got it
Okay. Oh,
right
cool,
there.
cool, cool. All
Yeah.
right. So the Night's Watch, did they mention that the Night's Watch?
Yes.
Okay.
I can't remember who was involved with it, but I do remember one of them. It was either Jared or Will that said like they spent like time with whatever that is.
So all three of those guys were part of the Night's Watch, and
Oh, okay.
their job is to essentially protect the realm, and they do it from the wall. So
Okay.
you'll learn a lot more about that, but I think all you really need to know is that. So they went on a ranging. I think you had asked that earlier.
Mhm,
So they
mhm.
essentially left the wall and went to the northern area, the area that's north of the wall, because they're going out looking for something.
Okay, wait, so, like, are they, like, in the haunted forest? Because that's what that
Maybe, yeah,
oh
yeah,
my
yeah,
goodness,
yeah.
dude, that's so cool. Okay.
All right. They said the wall was weeping, so that should tell you that the wall is made of ice. So that it
Oh my
right.
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Okay.
So
Alright.
it's cold out, but it's not so cold because the wall is still weeping. So you have
Mhm.
like this massive wall. Why is there a wall? What's keeping? We already got introduced to the White Walkers or the others. So there's this idea that maybe that wall was built to protect the world from the others, and it's the Night's Watch's job to do so. So that's the
Alright.
Night's Watch arranging the others, the wall, the north, stuff like that.
Alright. Cool. Alright. Wait, what are the others called? You said they were called something.
White Walkers,
White
and
Walkers.
then there'll be another name for something similar. I think it's pronounced like whites, and it's like WIDGTS or something like that. Yeah,
Oh, the world?
yeah,
Okay.
something like that. I'm from South Tucson. We don't read too.
Eh. Oh.
Um, so yeah, so others, White Walkers, whites. Yeah, those you can kind of group those together in your mind. Um, all right, so maybe you don't have a lot to predict yet, but I do want to like constantly ask for prediction as we go along. So we don't know what happened to Will, um, and then we no Jared. What happened to Jared?
We don't know, cause like, after, like, Sir Waymore was getting, like, killed, Will jumped down from the tree, and then, like, he just, like, saw his body on the ground or whatever, and then I think he went to go pick up his sword, and then that's when Sir Waymore was, like, standing above him,
Uh,
and then he, like, grabbed his neck or something, and then yeah, so that was where it was ended, so I don't know if Will is dead, which I really hope he isn't, cause I kinda liked him. Like, he was starting to become my favorite, but that's just cause he seems cool,
yeah.
so
Yeah. Okay. I, well, we'll figure out in the next chapter, but um, so this idea, yeah, I should ask you about that. So before Will dies, they're out looking, and either Will or Jared said that they've seen a bunch of dead bodies, and they're trying to figure out how did they die. And then they come upon the place, and they're no longer there.
mhm.
What happened to them? What do you think happened to them?
Bro, I don't know, cause like, watch or, like, reading that was, like, kinda freaky, cause Will was the one that, like, discovered that there were, like, dead bodies, cause he got there and, like, no one was moving, so, like, yeah, you're gonna assume that they're dead, and then, like, going back and they're all gone, but, like, the axe, like, a really nice axe that a guy had is still there, so it's like, okay, like, I don't think they're alive, because who would leave a nice axe like that? But also, like, I don't really know what happened to them. My best guess, which it was, like, kinda basic guess, would be, like, the others, like, killed them, but then, like, where's the blood? Where's the bodies? Like, where's, like, anything? So, and it's like, maybe they kidnapped them or something, but then for why? I don't know.
Okay, and then thoughts on Sir Waymar standing back up after he was butchered?
That was creepy. That was so creepy. I'm thinking, like, I don't know. Well, like, before we talked about the others, I was thinking they were, like, some kind of, like, zombie type, like, I don't know, they're like magical in some way. So I was thinking maybe if like they're killed, like they kill somebody a certain way, or maybe if their blood gets in somebody, they like just re like
Animate.
rejuvenate. Yeah, like as another, like
Re-
another as a other.
as another other.
So because I think they said that Sir Waymore like his eyes were weird, or I don't know if they said that, or maybe I'm making it up. But
No.
yeah.
Yeah. So after he woke back up, I'm pretty sure they said that his eyes were blue.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like blue-eyed stare. Oh my gosh. But yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
that's it.
No, I think those are excellent thoughts that you're really on target there. All right. So the next chapter that you're going to get into is Bran. It's the first of the normal chapters. You know, the prologue, like I said, being a bit unique.
Hmm.
Um, as a bit of background information, George R.R. Martin, this chapter, like obviously it's the first chapter, but this was like the initial thought that seeded the entire story of A Song of Ice and Fire. So there's like a scene in this chapter that like that scene popped into his head, and he created like an entire universe and an entire story around this scene. So
That's crazy.
yeah, I'm excited for you to read that chapter. Yeah, I don't think we'll do too many predictions off of this because you're going to get a whole new set of characters and all that. So
Yeah. I like took a glance at it earlier, and the only thing that I like picked up from it, because like I didn't like read it, but I glanced at it, and he said Brandon said he was like old enough to do something. He's like old enough to like go somewhere, and it sounded like it wasn't like for kids in my mind, but I don't know. That's really all I got.
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like it's something like bad. I don't know.
No, you're right. You're right. You'll find out soon enough. All right.
Yeah.
Any final words? Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Nope. I think I'm good. I hope Will is still alive, but I feel like he's dead. But I really hope he's still alive.
So the last thing that you've seen from him was Sir Waymar had his hands around his throat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he
So
will survive that.
okay, bro. Like I was trying to have hope. Like Sir Waymore's like came back from the dead, so like why can't he?
True.
Uh,
Hey, actually, that could happen.
oh my, he's dead, is he? Uh, that sucks.
All right. That's it.